ready for love. You could be having a life on a Friday night. Instead, you're here with us now. Friday Night AMA with your host, Showtime George. Showtime George.
Wow, that is just pathetic. As lame as fuck. Welcome everybody to the Friday Night AMA. I apologize for whatever that was just a second ago.
You don't apologize, or I'll play it again.
I will remove you from the chat, sir. I want to welcome everybody. It's SleeperWire is presenting Friday Night AMA. With me is the same crew from last week, but before I introduce them, I do want to introduce our esteemed colleague, our guest. He is the grand old man of the FSB Podathon. I know, Sal, I love you too. He is co-host at the FF Funhouse. You know him as Sal. Sal, how you doing?
I'm great. Who the hell is Showtime George? And I know a guy, an old school falafel guy, is going to be upset with that new name.
Hey, he's actually Kareem's one of the writers with us. He joined up on SleeperWire as one of our writers.
If you don't think that he gives me every article before it gets to you to look at, then I know that 100%.
I'm not surprised at all. Kareem's such a good
boy.
dude.
That's my boy. I love Kareem.
Yep, Kareem's a good man. Let me introduce everybody else real quick. We got Fallon at FF_just a girl directly below me. To my right, the one and only, the dirty man himself, Dirty Jobs. Don't confuse him with Mike Rowe. And next to him is laying down in the bedroom somewhere near you. It's Jason, BFTG Jason. Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing?
Listen. If you don't like that one, I'm gonna pay for another one next week. We're gonna have something even better.
I don't think it can get worse than that, to be honest.
Showtime George.
I love it. I'm not gonna lie.
That was horrible. That was absolutely horrible.
It was as cheesy as I paid for.
Yes, it was. It really was. So let's get into this. We're doing Friday Night AMA. We got some people logging in. We got a couple of viewers right now, but I don't see anybody asking any questions. We got Sal. Let's talk to Sal a little bit. Sal, one of the biggest things I think you're known for is you came up with the great idea of doing the SFB Podathon. That was your little show. You forced Kevin and it wasn't much to force Steve, let's be honest. Like, you just told Steve you're doing this and he was like, okay. How did you come up with that? What was the logic behind it? And did you think it would take off as much as it did?
Steve, first of all, is just happy that anybody considers him in the fantasy industry. Like, he's like, oh, I can still come on a show. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I mean, listen, anybody with a haircut, like, I'd rather be bald than have that helmet that he's got on his head. But listen, George, I think you were in a SFB 480 with us, right? That was the first year we were all in there. And so that's 5 years ago. And I really didn't know much about it at the time. I had just met Scott. And Scott came on the show with us, the little Falafel House podcast that we had back then. And I was like, wow, this seems like it would be pretty cool. We got to get in there. So we got in. And that first day, the draft, there was so much excitement on Twitter. I was like, wow, there's a lot more to this. I mean, people are really pumped up about this. And year 2 comes around, SFB 7. And it was even bigger. Tim Duncan retired that year. And I think that they were battling for supremacy as far as what was trending more on Twitter that day. Tim Duncan, an NBA great, retiring, and the Scott Fish Bowl. So I said to Steve and Kevin, we should do a live show the day of the draft. Maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, get Scott on, a couple of people, just discuss SFB, and away we go. They thought it was a good idea. But over that year, I thought about telethons when we were growing up, and you guys may be younger than me, except for one person in here.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
Yes, I know that, Fallon. But when we grew up, the telethons were a big thing on TV, and Jerry Lewis was the biggest one. I said, all right, this is a charity event. Let's do a podathon. And I brought it to Steve and Kevin. I said, guys, I'm doing it. 24 hours. I was originally planning on doing it alone. I was going to venture out there, but they were, like you said, George, didn't take 2 seconds for them to be like, no, we're in. Let's do this. And what I thought, George, would be maybe by year 5, it would become synonymous with the actual SFB and the drafts. But this was year 3, and it blew away all my expectations. I can only imagine it's going to get bigger from here with the live drafts next year and all that. So it's amazing to think what it's going to become. But this year, I mean, literally, it gets me excited every time I think about it. It was amazing.
So I want to get a little scoop from you. What big item or big plan do you have for the podathon next year? You got anything planned that you haven't done yet?
I would be hard to say that I have that yet, right? I mean, usually after I do it, it takes me about 4 months to recover from actually doing it. So we're only about 2 months removed from that. What I will tell you is this, and I did say this on one other show recently, and I can't remember which one it was. More than likely, because 4th of July is Sunday next year, and Scott is doing the live drafts, should we be allowed to do them in this country, doing them on Monday, July 5th. So that doesn't leave room for me to really do a podathon from Sunday into Monday. So my early idea is Friday afternoon or Friday evening around 3 p.m. or maybe 5 p.m. We're going to start the podathon and bring it into Saturday. And that way people could celebrate with us Friday into Saturday. Sunday, we celebrate America. Monday, we go do live drafts. And we'll probably do something during the live drafts also. But me, Steve, Kevin, we could be involved in those live drafts because we live in big cities, New York and Boston and California. Not that California is a city. I understand it's a state, but that's where Steve is. And we want to all be involved in those drafts that day. So, yeah, next year the podathon will most likely be July 2nd into the 3rd, Friday into Saturday.
So I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen at home, you heard it here first. The SFB Podathon has now become a 72-hour show. It's going to be absolutely amazing. 72 straight hours, no breaks in between except for bathroom breaks. I can't wait to see Steve's chair. Super excited about the chair this coming year.
Yeah, mostly the after the first 24 hours, the other 48 hours is just going to be us slumped over things, drool coming out. There'll be no actual content, but you will be able to view kind of like what my OnlyFans page would look like.
Actually, Sal, I've watched you guys the past few years, and you do pretty good towards the end. I don't know how. I mean, I don't know if it's some sort of adrenaline rush.
No, it's drugs.
It's cocaine.
Cocaine.
Yeah. No, it's called what it is.
You guys still, at least you and Kevin got it together, and Steve's chair does okay. So, I mean,
That chair's got more followers than Steve.
So I'm almost disappointed because I know Steve took that idea from Bill Belichick. Like, he's seen Bill Belichick do it during the NFL draft, and he's seen the response Bill Belichick got, and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to steal this idea. This is a fantastic idea.
Not to mention that the dog actually looked better than Steve when the dog took over Belichick's chair. Much better looking than Steve. Because
we know, so like Sal and I know Steve for a while. Like Sal obviously clearly knows Steve better than I do, but I've known Sal and Steve for 5-6 years now. And I can honestly tell you, Steve does absolutely nothing on purpose. Like, if something good happens, it's probably an accident. And I can point that going all the way back to the Fantasy Life app with the Falafel House. Like, falafel was an accident. Steve totally botched that, but it turned into something really, really cool. Something really awesome. Made a lot of good friends there. But yeah, it was a total accident. Steve completely fucked that up. It was supposed to be a private league with a private chat. He accidentally made it public, and it spawned from there. So we're not giving Steve credit for doing anything intentional.
But let's say this, right? Out of mistakes, sometimes become absolute genius. And George will attest to this. What that chat
Did you just call me a mistake?
No,
Yeah.
your parents called you that. I just reiterated it.
No denial from me.
What that chat became on the Fantasy Life app was something that I don't think will ever be replicated.
No.
At one point, we had 15,000 members in that chat. It was completely organic. It just happened on its own. It was people being real, people becoming comfortable with one another and being able to just express themselves about life, man. I miss that chat. It will never happen again. The app is, I love the app still, but it's not the same as what the original version of it was. But
It's not the same of what Mark and Charlie did. Like, it was special then.
I tweet at them every once in a while, that how I miss them, my children. But man, it was something. It was something, and I got to meet George. How lucky can one guy get?
Yeah, Sal, it's changed even more in the last 24 hours.
Wait, really? The last 24 hours, really?
Yeah, nothing but nonsense is gone. That's been around since the beginning.
They were definitely, I say right alongside of us because they were always the two chats together on there, but gone meaning they were eliminated.
They're gone. Yes, and wiped them away. They and a few of the OGs are not happy, so they have kind of a private, not NBN. But no, it got. You might want to just check in when we get off, and you'll see kind of a little bit the drama that just went on in the last 24 hours. It's kind of amusing.
Trust me, you don't want to go back
Friday.
There. You don't want to go back there.
You don't want to go back to for the drama.
There's people like Fallon on that site. You don't want to go back there.
Is it like? It's like Lion King with the elephant burial ground. I don't want to. We don't go there.
Yeah, that's shadow area. We don't go to that shadow area. That's outside of our territory.
You guys are OGs, though. You guys are like the ones who founded it, made it great, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went.
I'm not going to say I founded anything.
Well, you guys are like the OGs. You got to admit, you three are the OGs. Well, Mike's not been on there. That's why he's sticking his tongue out. But Jason, Gio, and Sal, you guys have been there from like just about the beginning.
Yeah. 2015. We George and I definitely were in there.
Yeah.
Well, so I remember
2015.
I remember George and I went bowling one night, and he's like, "Dude, you have to check." We were in Orlando. He's like, "You have to check out this app. There's so much cool shit going on at this app." I don't even think we had a podcast at that point. I'm not sure, but
we didn't.
Yeah, and
George could barely string two words together back then.
I mean,
I'm barely stringing two words together now.
Back then. But I remember so jumping on there and giving advice and thinking to myself, well, I mean, these people are just eating this advice up and they have no idea what my credentials are. But if Sal can do it.
Oh, that's horrible.
Basically, a man at my age.
Right, exactly. A man of your age and graying hair.
Stop
I remember
saying that because I am young, and that makes him young.
And that's why I keep you around, Fallon.
I mean,
Where's
we
Craig
can lie to ourselves. We can lie to ourselves, or we can be honest and move forward with our old selves. There isn't a young person on this chat.
No, there's not. Hey, let's answer Barry's question real quick. Mike, I'll throw this one to you. He wants to know, he's got room for one of these people on his bench. Who should he add? Corey Davis, MVS, or Scotty Miller?
That's Scotty Malay, actually.
Yeah, he's French.
Malay.
He's French.
His French-Canadian cousin.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. So I think, honestly, I go with Scott Miller here. I feel like, there's a lot of things going on now. Is Corey Godwin is Chris Godwin going to be out there on Sunday? And if he's not, Scotty Miller is huge for me. But if he is, if Godwin plays, I feel like I kind of lean towards Corey Davis. I want to see him do it again. Like, I think he will do it again. That was for you, buddy. That was for you, Jason.
I'm a Corey Davis truther, so I'm gonna say Corey Davis here. But if I wasn't such a Corey Davis truther, I would probably say MVS just because I like the offense and the team better than both Scotty Miller and Corey Davis. I like the quarterback and the scheme. So I'm saying Corey Davis because I always say Corey Davis. I've drafted him in almost every league I'm in this year because you could get him for free.
What do you think, Sal?
Yeah, listen, I have MVS or Lazard or both together at the end of so many rosters, right? These are,
Yep.
I always want that Green Bay guy. MVS is a guy I go back with 2 years ago in Falafel. I scooped him up like late. I always do that, like try it on a Friday, pick a guy up before he hits. And he was a guy that year that had a couple of spots. And Jason, I was the Corey Davis guy up until last year, but now I'm getting sucked back in. But of all these guys, I think really right now, you have to go with Scotty Miller because the offense is going to be different in Tampa, no matter how you want to slice it. Though we got injuries earlier to both of those guys. Evans is going to play this week. I think Godwin is out, Mike. I don't think he's going to play this week. It doesn't look good.
He was
But
practicing with the helmet.
Yeah, but Scotty Miller just fits that role. And I was listening to another podcast today that said, hey, I don't want to point out the obvious that it's another white guy in a role. But sooner or later, you have to accept the fact that it just continues to happen. And there's a comfortability level with Brady. He has those guys he gets comfortable with. And I think that this guy's going to have a weekly role with a decent floor that you could be comfortable with. So I think long-term for the whole year, and especially this week, I think it ends up being Scotty Miller.
Fallon, do you want to weigh in?
I hated watching Corey Day last week and against the Broncos, but I'm feeling Corey Davis. I'm going there. I'm going opposite you guys, but he's the fourth year wonder, what they say, fourth year breakout.
Those don't happen often.
What happened in Miami?
Yeah, I say Adam Gase happened in Miami. He left, and all of a sudden, Devontae Parker was able to stay healthy and be good. But
Jets are going to be awesome next year.
Well, the Adam Gase thing drives me nuts. I mean, he sucks. I mean, Peyton Manning made him look like a good offensive coordinator, and then he became a coach, and he didn't even do anything in Denver. I mean, I am just so baffled at this whole Gase thing.
You know our take on that, Fallon. Peyton Manning fell off when Adam Gase left.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Whatever.
He went from 55 touchdowns to what, 17?
Yeah.
Something like that. He was also injured, buddy. Remember, he was injured most that season.
You know what happened?
Rockwell?
Fallon, you know what happened when Adam Gase was the quarterback or the coach in Denver? Peyton Manning didn't get injured.
It's true. He knew how to take care of himself because Adam Gase took care of him.
Oh yeah, whatever. You got.
Hey, George. I still get notifications from the Fantasy Life app.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, during this question, there's a question in the Falafel House asking one for the flex, and it's Scotty Miller, Corey Davis, but the third person is CD Lamb. And let me tell you something.
It's CD Lamb, and it's not
if Amari
close.
Cooper doesn't play, CD Lamb better be in every roster that you have him on. Absolutely. I mean, I like Scotty Miller, but God, CD Lamb saw a ton of targets last week, and it's going to be, Dak and somebody. That's my stack this week in DFS. I'll probably have lineups with all three of them. Maybe a lineup where I have Dak and two receivers in that game. But yeah, there's going to be some points put up in that game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge shootout. To be honest, like I can't believe somebody would have to ask if. And I mean, I guess it shouldn't surprise me. Like you get
It's the fantasy
all
life,
levels.
George.
Yeah, you get all levels of fantasy players. I shouldn't think everybody should just automatically know, but I think it's going to be a huge shootout. I'm looking forward to that game. That's my game of the week.
Yeah,
I was on Fantasy Live for like 5 minutes, I think, and it was kind of like that Homer meme where you see him kind of fade back into the grass. That was my experience with it. I looked around, I'm like, no, this is a little Wild West for my ass. And then
that's exactly a good way to describe it. Wild West.
Yeah, it's gotten so different from what it used to be, and I don't want to keep harping back to the Fantasy Life app, but it's not the same. Like I used to be on it a lot, and when they changed to the new ownership, we'll say, things just got different. Exactly. Quotation marks, ownership. Things definitely got different. I go on there every once in a while, but it's not often. Fallon, we'll start this one with you. Antonio Gibson, Jerick McKinnon, Latavius, Corey Davis, or Brandon Cooks. You got to pick two.
Oh, I can't do McKinnon and good nature. I just can't go there. So I doing Corey Davis, and I'm feeling Brandon Cooks. I really am feeling him this week. I'm worried about Murray. Latavius Murray just last week. I know it was week 1, and not to overreact, but I'm overreacting, and I'm not liking him.
See, I like Latavius Murray. I think with Michael Thomas being down, I think they're going to go from a pass-heavy offense to a much more conservative run-first offense. So I think you could flex Latavius Murray this week. Personally, for me, this one would be Brandon Cooks and Latavius. Jason, what about you?
Yeah, I have problems with Brandon Cooks because aren't they playing? I'm looking it up now, but aren't they playing Baltimore?
Oh, you know what? They are. They are.
Yeah.
I changed my mind. Yeah. I love Latavius Murray.
So I'm going to say Latavius Murray and Corey Davis, but again, I'm a Corey Davis homer.
Sal, you got anything different?
Yeah, you guys are forgetting something. And as the resident Las Vegas Raiders fan, this is the Latavius Murray revenge game. He started his career in Oakland. So you got to always find the narrative in a case like this. But I agree with George's point that there will probably be more emphasis on the run game this week in New Orleans. And McKinnon, to me, it feels like a trap. Coleman didn't play last week because of asthma, medical conditions mixed in with the air quality. I think Coleman will be much more involved. And I think that if the 49ers, who should get up early on the Jets, will salt it away running more with Coleman towards the end of the game, but that's more his speed than McKinnon. That could be a blowout early, and McKinnon could not be involved in that game. I have so much Brandon Cooks, and it disappoints me so much to have so much Brandon Cooks because the injuries have already started. And guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Latavius Murray.
Yep.
And I'm going to take a shot that Washington Football Club realizes they made such a mistake last week, not getting Antonio Gibson more involved. And so many people are going to be off of him. He's a good, long shot tourney play in DFS this week as well. I'm going to throw Gibson out there one more time to see what happens. I don't like the pass game this week in Tennessee.
So Gibson was, I believe he almost broke off a big play, but he tripped over his offensive lineman. I think we'd be talking a lot different if he didn't trip over his lineman and he broke that big play.
He's the best of those three guys, right? I mean, we've seen the Peyton Barber show before, and if he doesn't score 2 short touchdowns, we're not even talking about him. And George, you could push through a line and score 2 touchdowns if you have the right blocking in front of you, right?
I've been saying that for years. Jason doesn't believe me. I mean, listen,
I watched him.
I'm 6'2". I'm pushing three bills here. Like, I can move a line, okay? That's no big deal. I can move those defensive linemen. No big deal.
I've watched him go out for a route in Dallas. There is no athletic ability there. None.
I did that on a bum ankle, Jason.
Yeah, you hurt yourself playing football. Like the first play you went out.
I was catching
passes, and it was Madden football.
No, he caught a ball. He caught a pass from Vince Young.
Yeah, I was playing with Vince Young as my quarterback. Like,
I saw the video. I saw it.
It was.
How do you twist your ankle playing Madden football, man?
That's
How do you?
I sprained my thumb playing Madden.
That's how you sprained your thumb. Yep. That's
coming back with his
it's my lie. I'm gonna tell it how I want. Here's a question I thought was interesting: Josh Allen or Big Ben? I really like both these guys.
Wait, Mike's got to start this one. This has got to be my question.
I'll start it and finish it. Josh Allen, not even close. Thank you very much. They're playing Miami, for Christ's sakes. Like, it's Josh Allen or buzz.
I think we're all pretty much in consensus here. Josh Allen, right?
So he just puts up the points every week, though. It's clockwork.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the only thing about Big Ben, that he's playing against a depleted secondary with the Broncos. So that's
because the Broncos suck.
Well, there's that
secondary.
That's true.
We have 2 Bronco fans on this show, so you got to be nice here.
I mean,
I can make it so I don't have 2 Bronco fans on the show.
If we have to be nice because of it, I'd say let's get rid of at least one of them.
Bye, Mike.
I don't want to foul in any names of who I'd pick.
Uh,
I think they forgot
Wow.
who's also a producer here.
Wow.
That was awesome. That was,
This show
that was
improved immensely.
beautiful.
Man,
thank you, Mike. I was like, what the hell just happened?
George has the middle
right
seat.
into the host seat. I was ready to go.
Jason, I'm gonna throw this one to you. Who do you expect to be the biggest beneficiary out of with Michael Thomas being out? And I'm gonna add to this question: how long do you think Michael Thomas will be out?
So it's the same injury that Saquon had last year, right? Saquon and Kamara both. It's a high ankle.
Yep.
So I think they were like each out like 3 or 4 weeks, and then they were hobbled when they came back a couple weeks. So out 3 weeks, and then a couple of weeks of average play because of still injured, and they rushed back. I mean, the biggest beneficiary is going to be the ground game. So either Kamara or Murray, because I think they're going to want to be on the ground more often. But if you're looking for somebody to catch passes, it's going to be Manny Sanders, who actually looked pretty good last week, even though he only caught for like 19 yards. He was open a lot more than he got the ball.
Sal, throw it to you.
Yeah, how long he's out is all dependent on how much they win. So if they're winning and they're comfortable letting him rest longer and they're like building a little bit of lead in the division, then they'll probably let him sit a little bit longer. If they lose 2 out of the next 3 and they fall to 500, then they probably try to rush him back. So I would say the expectation is 3 to 4 weeks, pending play. Like we just said, it'll go to the ground game. I think when your best player gets injured, you go to your next best player, and that's Alvin Kamara, who might be the best player on the team already. So I expect his targets to go up. I expect him to be heavy in rotation this week. Got a lot of Manny Sanders. I like old guys because I'm an old guy, and so I got a lot of him. So yeah, I agree. The steady receptions will go his way, but if you're looking for a long shot in a DFS tourney, I go with Traquan Smith this week. A guy who could put up 2 big, deep touchdowns. But you don't want that in your weekly lineup. You want that in your shot in the dark lineup.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to miss 6 weeks. Like I don't think they rush him back. If they stay above 500, I could see them bringing him back week 7 against. I was just looking at their schedule. I think week 7 they play the Bucks again. So no, week 7. I'm sorry, week 7 they played the Bears. Week 8 they got the Bucks. I can honestly see them holding him out till week 7. Let him get that thing right. They don't need him as much during the regular season. As long as they're staying above 500, they're going to need him for the postseason. And we've seen what happened when you come back too early. Saquon coming back last year. I mean, people were shocked he came back as early as he did. People were talking about he's going to miss 6-7 weeks. And I think he only missed like 3 weeks, but he was not himself until after week 6 or 7. So I'm not a believer that they'll rush him back. As long as that team is above 500, I think you're going to see a lot of running. They're going to lean heavily on the rushing game, which they typically do anyway. Like Michael Thomas is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but like their running backs, they lean on them year in, year out. The defense is a very good defense. So that's how I think their game plan is going to be: is lean on your defense, pound the ball. Use Manny Sanders. I think Jared Cook gets a huge boost at the tight end position, and I think that's how they're gonna go. And their schedule coming up is not too terrible at all. It's a decent schedule.
See, I think Kamara is like a no-brainer, so that can kind of go out of the equation because you're already playing him, and he's going to be taking up more of the short passes and the run game. And Manny's going to get more of those long passes, and Cook. I think those two. And then I think Traquan Smith, I actually added him in a few of my leagues just as a backup wide receiver 3, maybe a second flex or something. I mean, I want to see how he does this week before I actually throw him in. But I think he could be, he might, as Sal said, a long shot out there. And
Dash.
Yeah, I think with Kamara, I think they'll motion him out of the backfield more and use him as a receiver. Line him up in the backfield, get him one-on-one with the linebacker, motion him out, and then allow him just to abuse the linebackers. I think we'll see a lot more of that. They do it already, so it would make sense just to do it a little bit more. And they're so good with the screen game there. they just do an ungodly amount of screens. Everybody knows the Saints are going to run screenplays, and they just do it relentlessly. So I can see Kamara getting a slight boost there. Minnie Jordan wants to know, he's got a 12-team PPR. He needs us to pick a flex. DJ Chark, Devin Singletary, or Deontay Johnson or Marvin Jones.
Hey, listen, I'll jump in here. It's for me, it's between Deontay Johnson and Marvin Jones, right? And Deontay Johnson he got the most targets on the team this past week. But what gets me going back to Marvin Jones is I expect that game to be another high-scoring game. I think you're going to get similar to what you saw with Green Bay and Minnesota last week, and Stafford's going to be chasing the points. They're going to be trailing in that game, coming off that loss. And this is the type of stupid game in that division where the Lions will figure out a way to win this late. But in order to do that, they're going to be throwing the ball. And even if they don't win it, they're going to be trying to late. And I expect Marvin Jones to have a pretty good game in that game. So slightly I'm leaning Marvin Jones, but it would be Jones and then Deontay Johnson for me.
Hey, Sal, isn't Carry-On a little bit injured, or why do I think that? Is there something going on with him?
Well, Carry-On is just, he's injured in his brain. You can't seem to play football correctly.
That could be it. I knew there was something going on with the guy. Why I don't like him, but why I'm leaning towards Marvin Jones, which I know they're different positions, but I still, I'm with
DeAndre
Swift Marvin Jones.
DeAndre Swift's the clear pass-catching back in that offense. Now, we say that tongue-in-cheek with him dropping the most important pass of the game that would have won them the game. But the coach, Matt Patricia, came out afterwards and gave him a vote of confidence. He's a rookie, his first game. He's not going to beat on him. They will go back to the pass-catching role. And then you got old man AP, who's, right as rain. He just does it over and over again. So, yeah, I don't think Carry-On's even on anybody's radar right now. Galladay being out, and I believe he was already ruled out again for this week. He's out.
Yeah,
he is. Marvin Jones, and listen, if you're looking for a guy, Quintez Cephas, who I have on taxi squads everywhere, saw 10 targets. He saw all of Galladay's targets last week, and I jokingly on the DFS show I do Wednesday, one of my co-hosts said, I think he just threw to the position, not realizing Galladay was out. Quintez Cephas could be a huge surprise this week.
Jason, I've seen you shaking your head.
So I'm a Marvin Jones guy. You know that. I'm expecting a big game. I don't hate Devin Singletary here either, but for me, it's going to be Marvin Jones. Yeah, honestly, you know what? I do hate Devin Singletary here. Sorry. I meant to say I do.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not playing Singletary anywhere close to these guys. For me, it's Deontay. He muffed the punt. That was pretty bad, but he still led the team in targets. Juju's going to draw a lot of the attention, and I honestly like Deontay Johnson. I want to try to get him in more leagues. So I personally would flex Deontay. I have, and I don't mind paying up for him. I like him, so I'll pay up for him if I need to. Next one, we have this one. Thoughts on stashing Sanu or Devonta Freeman before having to spend fab on them?
I would stash
I'm just going to say I'm not stashing Sanu at all.
I have him in a lot of games. I forgot to drop him, and now he's on a team. So
just because he's on a team doesn't mean he's worth stashing. He's not worth stashing. I would rather stash Devonta Freeman than Mohamed Sanu. I want nothing to do with Sanu. He does nothing for me. Yes, I understand there's next to no wide receivers in San Francisco, but those guys will get healthy and Sanu will be worthless again.
I hated Freeman ever since you and I made that trade for Freeman, and you tried to sell me on the guy who never got healthy, and I still hate Freeman because of you. So
George sold you some snake oil. I'm shocked.
He sold me some snake oil about 3 or 4 years ago, and now I hate him.
I mean, to be fair,
George or Devonta, which one do you hate?
Both.
Yes, we're gonna go yes, Sal.
But just to be fair, Fallon will trade for somebody on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I am notorious for really shitty trades. I know.
I send you a trade that's equal and balanced. You decline it, and you.
That was an awful trade.
I'm like, what are you talking about? That was an awful trade. Look at the trades you accept, you crazy woman.
I will give Fallon all the credit in the world. 2 years ago in the Fantasy Life Bowl,
Phillip Lindsay.
she drafted Phillip Lindsay when nobody even had him on their radar. Now it has everything to do with the fact that she lives and breathes everything Broncos, so she knew everything was going on there. But yeah, that is her claim to fame. It's not a bad one. Now if he could get that damn toe in shape,
She didn't know
I know.
shit. She didn't know shit. She drafted a Bronco.
that's
It's
true.
not
No,
like
I
she, it's
actually-
not
no,
like
no,
she
no,
was
I don't
on the
even-
pulse.
I actually, he's the only Bronco I have, and I've been trading him away because I am admittedly biased. I attempt not to have Broncos for that reason.
Yeah, I try not to have Dolphins for that same reason. I just don't want to
Well,
be
your
biased
Dolphins
with.
suck, so I mean, they're starting to get better. But for who would want a Dolphin?
I mean,
You did okay if you had Parker last year.
Yeah,
I love a dolphin. But you mean like as a pet or?
Did you guys lose a little bit of your fandom with fantasy football? Like I'll be watching a Broncos game, and if I need Amari Cooper to get that last touchdown, and that means the Broncos lose, but I need it to win. Sorry, Broncos.
Mike's like, I'm
Just don't
totally
tell anybody
staying
about
out.
it, Mike.
I
Just
mean,
don't
so
tell anybody.
listen, here's the thing, and this is the God's honest truth, and for a lot of us here, you're Sal, you're a Vegas fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. George is a Dolphin fan. I'm a Buccaneers fan. You know, by third week, most of our teams, we already know they're fucking out of it. So,
Well,
like,
Jason,
what
now
do
we got Fallon and Mike. They're both Broncos fans. You can might as well just add them to
Add
by the
them
third
to it,
week.
yeah.
You know, they know they're already out of
I
it.
think it's week 2. I mean,
So-
I'm already worried about this week. So
what do I care? What do I care if like we win or lose the 12th game of a 4-8 start versus my fantasy football team where I could make money, or just bragging rights, or like I love the Bucks, but you know at 4-12, fuck off. I don't care if you win or not. Like
So,
I'm
so
just
Jason
certain
goes
that
from
we have a
rooting-
quarterback.
Jason goes from rooting for his team to rooting for a draft pick as the season progresses. That's absolutely amazing.
Hey, Jason.
yo,
So after week 1, the Raiders, they scored late to beat the Panthers, and people ask me, "Oh, are you excited?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's great to get a win in week 1." But let me read you the Raiders' schedule the next couple of weeks. Ready? Saints, Patriots, Bills, Chiefs, Buccaneers. They will be 1-5 in week 6.
Hey,
you know, I
enjoy
don't know
the
about
wins while
that.
you can.
Listen, I don't know about that. The Bills are okay. The Bucks, we don't know yet. Like the problem for you is you get the Bucks after they get a couple of games, because I absolutely
Yeah.
told George I expected him to lose against the Saints.
Yep.
And that's basically just not having a preseason, not having Brady play in another system, not having him play with those guys. Like I think after a couple weeks they may click a little bit, but they went and played the Saints, who basically didn't change anything on offense, and then had a COVID offseason, and who cares? They played together last year. So I expect the Bucks to get better, but who knows if that's going to be in time for them to play decent. The Raiders schedule sucks, man, and I that's awful for Vegas, but it couldn't have happened to a better coach.
Hey, Sal, I got to ask you a question. Being a Raiders fan, it just is so wrong being a Las Vegas Raider. I mean, what is your feel? I mean, they're the Oakland Raiders. It just feels like they are now a attraction in Vegas, and now they're a destination for other teams to come watch their team play the Raiders. I mean, how do you feel about this move to Vegas?
Well, as a guy who's born and raised in New York, people are like, how did you become a Raider fan? So that happened, as it happens with a lot of us when we're kids. They won a Super Bowl when I was like 8. Marcus Allen had an amazing game, and I've been a Raider fan ever since. So what I can tell you is I've never been to Oakland. I've never seen them play in Oakland. They spent, a few years in L.A. as well, so they've already moved, interstate at that time, and then back to Oakland again. So it doesn't affect the way I view the Raiders. I feel bad for those longtime Oakland fans because, like the team or not, they have some of the greatest fans going in the NFL, rabid fans. For me, as a guy who can now go to Vegas, enjoy Vegas, and see my team when I'm there, it actually makes me kind of happy. I don't disagree with what you're saying they're not going to get as many traditional weekly actual hardcore fans in that stadium. You're going to get, I got free tickets because I gamble a lot in this casino type of
Because I
fan.
stayed at the Bellagio.
Yeah. So I get it. It takes the atmosphere away from it. But those hardcore fans, they have their tickets and they're going to make that trip. They're going to make weekends out of it. They're going to drive. It's not that crazy of a drive, right, to go there for the weekend. So they're going to do it. You're going to get the black hole will be the black hole. But then the rest of the place will be, this guy here with his,
Well, I learned because except for this year being COVID, my big boys league, we draft in Vegas every year. And I was talking to some of the people, and they did. Mark Davis did offer, the season ticket holders, to transfer to Vegas, and then they allowed quite a bit for Vegas people trying to build a base in Vegas, where it was under the impression that most of the tickets, which still are quite a bit, are going to the casinos for the gamblers. So people can, fly out for a nice weekend and go see their team play in Las Vegas and gamble and have a weekend of it. But it just seems dirty. I mean, as a Bronco fan, you wouldn't go. I mean, I have some friends who are like big guys, like 300 pounds, and you don't fuck with them. And they went to the Black Hole and they went to Oakland to watch a game, and they would not wear a Broncos shirt. They kept their mouths shut. You just do not, you don't go to Oakland and announce that you're a Bronco fan. And Vegas, it's not a big deal.
The one thing I would say, Fallon, is you also have to remember, how long have the Broncos been in Denver? They have
since 1960.
Exactly. So they have a true base of loyal fans.
So does Oakland.
But they're not in Oakland no more. When they were in Oakland, they had that true base of fans that would come out and support them no matter what. But now that they're in Vegas, they have to build that back up. It's not the same.
Nobody lives in Vegas.
Well, Oakland isn't that far from Vegas. That's like it's like.
Well, actually, no. You guys are getting Oakland and Los Angeles mixed up. It's a little further from Northern California to Vegas than it is from Southern California to Vegas.
Yeah, I know it's further, but the diehards, those nuts who've been doing it for all these years, they'll make the trip. They'll do caravans,
shoulder pads and shit like that. Yeah, they'll be there. They'll be there.
I'm just so offended. Fallon's trying to make me learn geography on the show, and that's not what we're here for. I was told no math, no geography. Proper English was optional. There was a whole list of things that I was told, and
well, I just said fuck. Is that okay?
My favorite Oakland or Las Vegas tweet of the weekend was, "It's good to see that John Gruden found the only open buffet during COVID." That dude gained 40 pounds.
I got a real quick question on the Mixler, guys, from Oswaldo. What's up, buddy? He said, should I drop Tannehill for Hurst, Phillip Rivers, Scott Miller, or Josh Kelly PPR redraft?
Never Rivers.
I'm not dropping Tannehill for any of those. I guess I would need to know his quarterback situation. If you could fill us in with a little bit more. Oswaldo, is it super flex league? If it is, you're probably not dropping anybody, or at least not a quarterback. But even in a single quarterback league, depending on what you have at that position, I don't know if I'm dropping Tannehill for any of them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if Phillip Rivers is available out there, I'd imagine it's probably a single quarterback league.
Yeah.
I really like Josh Kelly right here. I think that's the guy I would be going for there.
It would really
I got
depend
so much
on,
Josh Kelly.
Yeah, it would really depend on who your QB1 is, but I could see myself dropping Tannehill in a one quarterback league for Josh Kelly because most likely you'll be able to pick him back up if you need him.
Yeah, or you can pick up Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jason. If you could work around and just grab a guy on a bye week, if your starting quarterback is a guy you're plugging in every week, no matter what, then it really doesn't matter.
Right.
We got one here from RBG Gilchrist. I think
that's Bob.
I know Bob. Bob Gilchrist. Okay, I thought that was Bob, but I wasn't sure. ROS rest of the season: Claypool or Van Jefferson?
Claypool, and it's not even close.
Yeah, and I want to. Bob asked a question earlier if I had any pizza left, and I didn't get any pizza today, Bob. We talked about that on Twitter, and I didn't get any pizza. So maybe when I get off of this, I'll go grab some. But I agree. I was a Van Jefferson. Like, I really loved the prospect of Van Jefferson. And in week 1, they barely used him. It's like, okay, we thought he was going to take that role from Josh Reynolds, and he's going to have that number 3 role in that Rams offense. And it's just, there's too many mouths to feed in that offense. So Claypool he was on the field. He saw some targets, and he's got some big playability. I would go Claypool as well.
His
How
first
can any
catch.
guys?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fallon.
I'm just wondering how anyone can answer rest of season questions after week 1.
Yeah, it's easy. You just do it.
We're experts, Fallon.
So you're just faking it, like women fake orgasms.
Much. You just don't lead much.
Let me explain how I've gotten through life completely, Fallon, okay? And you're a person with a lot of experience. You should know this. If you say anything with conviction, people think you know what you're talking about. None of us have a clue as to what we're talking about. None of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't tell you if I'm going to get hit by a bus tomorrow, but I'm going to tell you with conviction so that you believe me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fake it till you make it, right? I mean, that's just fake it till you make it.
So as Walter said, Cam Newton.
I just don't fake orgasms anymore.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to need the check over here. Promise is not.
As Walter said, his quarterback is Cam Newton. He said, "Oh, I feel you, brother. Michael Thomas and AJ Brown are out, and this person would replace Zach Moss at the position." So he has Cam Newton and Tannehill. It is a single quarterback. I'm just assuming again.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, Scott Miller, Josh Kelly. Would we all just stick with Josh Kelly?
I would.
Or man, Scott Miller's probably worth grabbing. You know what we do here? We do the
Opposite of what Mike says.
We do the who's 2 for 1. We do the trades. Let's open up the spot. Let's get that, because that's too many guys on your waiver wire. We need Scott Miller and Josh Kelly. We want both those guys. And I think I'm playing Zach Moss this week over both those guys. What about you guys? Scott Miller and Josh Kelly, Zach Moss. I might play Scott Miller over him. I'm close on that one, but I really like Zach Moss this week.
Zach Moss.
Yeah, I didn't love what I saw actually out of that Buffalo run game. I mean, he got the touchdown, so it salvaged his day, Moss. But again, if Godwin's out, which he's going to be, it's Scotty Miller this week for me over Moss.
I think I'm there too.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm still Josh Kelly because it's against the Chiefs and they're. Yeah, I mean, you expect Eckler to get some passes, but he didn't last week. I think Kelly's going to play a good bit in this game, so I don't know. I'm still Kelly, but I would
Kelly.
Jason, I was totally waiting for you to say I'm still on team Corey Davis, and I think you should pick up Corey Davis.
Where the hell is Corey Davis? Oswaldo, why don't you have Corey Davis? You listen to us every week.
Maybe he's league smart, and Corey Davis just isn't available. That happens in some leagues.
But I'm so disappointed because Oswaldo listens to us all the time. He should know.
Maybe he's
Corey
already got Corey Davis, and he's already got him in his wide receiver 2 position, like smart.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe he knows you give bad advice already, Jason, since he listens all the time.
He does it with conviction.
Oh, he said he is available. Corey Davis is available here.
Oh, so then you got the Tannehill Davis stack.
Go get it.
Cut Cam, stack Corey Davis and Tannehill. Fuck it.
He's going to win you the week. Go get it.
Oh, shit. Jonnu Smith or Jordan Reed?
Is that even a question?
It's right there on the screen. It must.
Yeah, I see
it. Does anybody say Jordan Reed? Because of this group, I don't think anybody does.
Listen, I will have Jordan Reed in at least one DraftKings lineup this week because you never know. Right? Kittle's been ruled out. But no,
what was that
in a daily, I agree
Reed?
with you completely. In daily, 100%. He's
just
worth
one.
taking a flyer.
Don't get crazy. Don't put him in more.
What was his number in Washington? Ruled whatever it is when he
86.
plays.
86.
Rule 86. Yeah, when he plays, you play him, but I don't think that rule's in effect anymore.
Don't give the fantasy footballers any more advertising. They're making enough money and everything. They got a logo on everything. Stop advertising. For
that's the Will Fuller rule now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Will Fuller rule. If he plays, you play him.
That's right.
He didn't do too well last week.
I got you, Mike.
Whoa, he saw a ton of targets. He just didn't find the end zone. He looked like he slotted right into the DeAndre Hopkins role almost seamlessly. He made some nice catches. He saw a ton of targets. He's the only guy I think I would actually play in a receiving game until further notice. Because Brandon Cooks can't stay on the field. The other guys, Cobb, they forgot they had him until the last quarter. I like Will Fuller. Again, you ride him till he's gone.
Yeah,
Right.
so I when we started the game, I'm like, don't they have Cobb? And then I went back in my head and went like, nah, they didn't pick up Cobb. That couldn't be. And then he got in the fourth quarter. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess they did. Like, what is that? They hire the guy's decent slot receiver, and then you just don't put him on the field until you're pretty much screwed.
So I gotta say, my very first Superflex, it was a first Superflex team I ever did. Actually, George was in this league, and we were drafting, and I was drafting with my heart. And the worst trade I ever did was Mahomes and Wentz for Watson. Now, thanks to Bill O'Brien, I now have someone who has a worse trade than that trade I did. So I got to thank Bill O'Brien for just making me look good and having a worse trade than me.
Yeah, that was an absolute terrible trade, Fallon. You should.
I don't think anyone in that league's ever seen one as bad as that one. But
No,
I'm still
that was-
notorious of making really shitty trades. Someday I'll get better at that.
That was
So just
horrible.
don't accept George's trades. You'll be fine.
No,
Oh, no,
so-
it's not just George's. It doesn't matter the trade. I just really don't do well when it comes to trading.
the trades I sent her are actually quite fair. I just want to.
Oh, no, they are not. They're as bad as draft geniuses.
I've never
No.
seen a fair trade come from you, George. So I gotta call shenanigans on this one.
No,
I will say Jason sends good trades.
I offered you. I forget what that trade was. It was I tried to trade for David Johnson, and I offered you like a Godfather package. And it was a legitimate
It was
Godfather
not.
trade offer. Yes, it was. It was like there was like 2 first-round draft picks and a couple of other things for David Johnson and somebody else.
I'll
keep
just say
making up
George.
stories.
George made me a fair trade offer this year, and I happily accepted it.
Don't swap wives with George, Jason. That's a bad idea.
I mean, I
Oh,
feel
no.
like our wives would disagree as well.
No, I don't
That-
mean it. I don't. That's not an indication on the women. I'm just saying it's not morally sound. Don't listen to George.
We don't have morals.
That's true.
So our trade was I traded Kyler Murray and Hawkinson and got back Lamar Jackson. I got Lamar Jackson, Cook, and was it a third?
Yeah, Jared Cook and a third.
That's good. Hey, listen, we're getting Lamar Jackson back. That's solid.
Yeah. Right. It
So
was a fair trade.
The reason why I like the trade for me is in this league.
George,
you
I'm
have
just
to
writing
start-
this down to tell the other guys at Falafel you've actually made good deals. Hold on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. So in this league, also, it was you're required to. It's a 12-team league, and you're required to start 2 tight ends. So for me to get back T.J. Hawkinson and Kyler Murray for Lamar Jackson, Jared Cook, and a third, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Not bad. And having Kelsey made it easy for me.
Hey, Fallon, just to go back to something you said before about you're not good with trades. Don't, and I'll recommend this to anybody who's not comfortable with it yet. Don't feel like just because somebody sends you an offer, you have to make a trade. People do this all the time. Like somebody sends them an offer, and they're like, oh man, I could probably get more for that guy. And then they go move a player. They were never thinking about moving in the first place because somebody made them an offer, they feel like they have to. It's okay to just click no. And shut
I
the
say
computer
no.
off and not make the trade.
Oh, no, I do say no a lot. And then sometimes I get messed up. But I just pulled up. I made one great trade, and I'm really proud of myself. It was with Professor Chris. I traded out Sammy Watkins because he did one good game of the year. We might get one more good one.
It was
from
week
him.
1.
And yeah, week 1. And, Chris sent me a trade for Malcolm Brown and Kyle Rudolph, which was, I think isn't it 2 tight end in the league? I don't remember. But anyways, I got Malcolm Brown, Kyle Rudolph, and he got Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, I think rest of the season, Kyle Rudolph doesn't register for me, but I would. Malcolm Brown's going to have a role, at minimum, the touchdown role, short yardage role in that offense. At minimum, as the year goes on, and Watkins will Watkins. So
Watkins will get 1 or 2 games from him, right?
Maybe.
Every year we get like the first game, and then 1 game like in the middle or towards the end, and then that's about it from Sammy Watkins.
I thought Bob was calling me a cuck for a second there, but he just spelled click wrong.
Yeah.
Standard operating procedures to clock no on Sal's trades offers.
Yeah, it's click.
Is that click? I like click. So Sal, you're one of those tough traders too, right?
Well,
I'm impossible to trade with.
You're
I'm
supposed
Well,
to.
impossible.
we're all in one league, but I've heard your thing about email. Who did it? That great thing with Oscar the Grouch and making fun of you on
Mark Hill.
yes, love Mark Hill making fun of you on your trades and read your emails and all that. So
Mark Hill has 3 different versions of me yelling at people in Voxer chats.
mostly Bosch. It's mostly
He's
Bosch.
seemingly in every single league that I am in, and I think it's strictly to get material. I don't think he actually likes fantasy football. I think he does it just to get material of me screaming at people. But most of those came from the old Capitalist Pigs chats because people seemingly enjoyed getting yelled at by me. So it kind of became a running joke. None of those are really serious. They are me leaving those messages, but they were all done in fun. Yeah, I love that curly head freak, John Bosch. Even if he does shave his head, even if that bastard with a full head of hair, Jason, shaves his head every summer to look like us. And I hate people with hair who shave their head. I love the guy.
See, I play land grab with him on the off season because we don't have fantasy football. So I'm off playing, the online version of Risk with Bosch and Mark Hill and all those guys. So, and I just love that Oscar the Grouch thing. Someday, Sal, we'll play in a league that's not the Fantasy Life League. That's a real league.
Yeah, well, it better get to me soon because I am cutting way back next year. So we haven't brought it up, George. Well, I will be, and I'm going to tell you why. You brought up in a tweet that I was coming on about a couple of things. I'm now the host of On the Daily DFS for RotoViz Wednesday nights, and I'm taking a bigger role in the DFS community and realizing I play it. I have 10 dynasty leagues. I have an insane amount of redraft leagues. I should be focusing more on making myself money, and so I've done more studying this year and just really learning the behind the scenes stuff that goes into DFS. And man, you don't need to even watch football to be successful at DFS. You need to know the numbers, and there is this whole system in play. So no, I really am. I'm going to probably cut back at least half of my dynasties next year, if not more, and do less redraft. I really want to focus on DFS.
So I've also got to say, part of that is he's got to get done early because the early bird special starts at like 4-ish. So he's got to get
money
in
where
and
you
out.
could say you got to save money on dinner so you can spend more on DFS.
That's
Hey,
exactly
Sal,
right.
by the way, that's not just football. I played my first fantasy baseball this year, and I made the playoffs. And I, in my entire life, have never watched more than 3 innings of baseball, and I made the playoffs. I was one and done, but I'm still impressed that I made the playoffs.
Let me tell you about fantasy baseball. I'd rather be a cuck than play fantasy baseball. I played it for a few years, and it's first of all, it's still going on when football starts, and it's like, what's the point? Why are we still playing this? Fantasy football has already started, but yeah, no, the analytics behind some of these things, it is amazing. So there's a site called 1 Week Season, JM to Win, who's a guy who's been in the DFS field for a while. He's got a guy, Zandamir, who does the entire course on the showdown slate. This guy doesn't watch football. He doesn't watch football. He's one of the most successful showdown money earners in the game. So, listen, if you have the time to take and study, there are ways that you can supplement your income. And as I get older and I want to do less actual physical work in my body, I think it's time to supplement.
Sal, I might hit you up on that. I got my undergrad degree in statistics. My brother's like, I don't think you like fantasy football just for football. I think you just like the studying of it. So, yeah, I'd love to supplement my income and do better on DFS than I've been doing. I mean, I don't do bad. I win a few hundred a year, but I don't really play that much.
Yeah, we need more zeros. More zeros.
Yeah,
I'm just impressed that it took Sal this long to realize in life he needs to focus more on making money. Like
up until now, it's just been fun and games.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, well, we're punching an hour here. I'm not seeing. We got one last question, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. JJ Taylor.
Two. Sorry.
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Wait,
Mike,
I got more
Mike,
pina colada to drink. We can't finish till I'm done with pina
you
colada.
can drink it by yourself at home, Fallon. It's okay.
But then I'm drinking alone.
That's okay.
We got Pigskins. He says Djax, MVS, or Sterling Shepard for his wide receiver 3, half point PPR.
Oh, MVS.
MVS for sure.
Yeah, MVS. That's a trifecta right there.
Four-tracta.
Fourfecta. A quadfecta. And Oswaldo said he added Corey. He also had Traquan Smith. Would you take Traquan Smith over Corey Davis right now?
I would see what's going on with AJ Brown. If AJ Brown sits out, I would go with Corey Davis.
Definitely.
And I don't believe I just.
Well, I think he's already been ruled out because I was checking my legs. I think AJ Brown's out.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think he is out. So, yeah, Corey Davis. Good move, Oswaldo.
So,
Jonathan Taylor or Mooney with more they're looking dynasty.
Yeah, so
JJ Taylor.
I added JJ Taylor in a couple of deep dynasty leagues where he was just sitting out there, and I had space to put him on there because Belichick did speak highly of him after the game this week. But listen, we already know that the mess that it is running backs in New England. So to add another one to rely on it, this kid Mooney could be a long shot play. I think he's in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. And listen, Anthony Miller's looking good there, but A-Rob might be on his way out, so there might be a spot opening soon. So in a dynasty league, you want to throw, first of all, young wide receivers over running backs anyway, unless they're running backs that are absolutely getting volume now. Take the wide receivers and stash them. So for me, it would be Mooney.
So it's funny you mentioned Allen Robinson. I'm going to name drop for a second. I was doing a show yesterday with Marcus Grant from the NFL Network. And,
never heard of him.
Yeah, some guy. We were talking about Allen Robinson and just the shit quarterbacks that he's had to play with, like Blake Bortles, and now he's got, I call him Mitch Trubisky just for the first couple of weeks this season. Then he'll turn into trash. But he's got Trubisky, who's really not that good. It's like, has there ever been a more talented wide receiver that just had the most shit quarterbacks ever?
Broncos.
Yeah, no, it's been a steady stream of shit for Allen Robinson.
Yeah, and it's the exact opposite career arc for somebody like Brandon Cooks, who the worst quarterback he's ever played with was Jared Goff. Like it's amusing how that works out sometimes. So, well, let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. I know Sal's got to get going. Jason would say he's got to get the beds after
Showtime, George.
Shut this shit down.
Well, I was happy to be here.
I love Dirty Jobs. He's got the power, and you think you do, George. I love it.
Yeah, I
do
too.
Attention to the man behind the curtain.
So,
wow,
Sal,
there's the power.
So, Sal, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you? I know I tweeted a little bit of it in the tweet, but I can only put so many letters in the tweet.
Yeah, you'll always find me on Twitter. I always respond at SalLetoFF, SALLETOFF. My home show is the Fantasy Football Funhouse, which we are going to do an episode this week coming up. We don't do it consistently anymore because everybody's busy, but we're all doing other things. We're a part of the DFPN or the DFPN network at DFPN. You can check that out with the Dynasty Dummies and J Mike's Dummy Blitz and all that stuff that we do over there. And as I mentioned earlier, the guys over at RotoVez were nice enough to give me a shot hosting the On the Daily DFS, and that's at On the Daily DFS on Twitter. And we're live Wednesday nights, going through the entire main slate every week, and then you could find it also wherever you download podcasts. And we all know where we download podcasts, so check us out there, guys. And listen, good luck. Check the show out. Maybe we put some money in our pockets this year. Thank you for having me, fellas. And
thanks for coming, Sal. Mike, why don't you go tell people where they can find you real quick?
You can find me at Dirty Jobs 21 on the Twitter, at Dirty Jobs on the Sleeper, basically Dirty Jobs, not Mike Rowe, the other one. I'm more disgusting. He's more.
Fallon, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at FF Just a Girl. They can find me on Sleeper at Just a Girl. And if you're on Fantasy Life, I'm Just a Girl.
And Jason?
You can find me on Twitter at BFTGJason. You can find me on Fantasy Life app at, I don't remember. I haven't been on that in forever. You can find me on Sleeper. You can find me on Sleeper at BFTG Dr. Mill. You can go to our other website, which is bftgpodcast.com. And then you can find us all on at SleeperWire Show on Twitter.
And you can find me on Twitter at BFTGPod, and I'm also on Sleeper app at BFTGEO. Occasionally, I do go on the Fantasy Life app. I'm just at Geo there. Again, Sal, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy Friday night. I know you were batting the ladies away tonight. Told them you had something super important to come do. So super appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, Sal, it was great to be with you tonight. It was great to spend a Friday night with y'all.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime you guys are stuck for a guest and you're desperate, I'm around.
All right. With that, let's go ahead and end the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Looking forward to doing this again next week.
Showtime, George.